So we'll start by talking about the Bulls game. And like, I'm going to be honest, from my point of view, without Luka and Kristaps, I feel like how much of this can we actually analyze? But I mean, there were some frustrating things.
Well, I mean, you're right. It was the Texas Legends versus Chicago Bulls tonight.
Yeah.
But
it's still their roster. Like, we can still evaluate the players that played.
You're still seeing some of the same recurring themes, even when Luka was playing. The rebounding problem is a problem.
It's a problem.
They have a big problem in their bigs. That's
They have a big problem.
Yes, they have they don't have very good backup bigs, and especially with Porzingis projected to be out a couple more weeks, that's going to be pretty difficult to watch as far as the rebounding and the size. Yeah, so that I'd like to see them make some kind of move to bring in a quality backup center, because if Porzingis is going to miss time due to rest or maybe have some nagging injuries here and there, I would like for them to have somebody that you can feel reliable or is reliable and have them come off the bench, because what you saw against the Bulls, without Porzingis, or really all season, without Porzingis, they're just crap on the rebounds.
Yeah, it's, and again, I think that's worth saying that, like, the whole rebounding problem, I think with Porzingis being out, like, it is going to be a huge problem. And so when he comes back, I think it is not as big of a problem. Also, Luka was out and he averages like 9 rebounds a game. But the fact still remains that everyone outside of those two are not good rebounders
the rebounding,
at all.
you remember, was a problem last year. True. Remember, there were those moments in the game where we were like, why isn't Boban out there for that one?
Times.
So they lack rebounding. And I think a lot of it's because they play a small at the 4, but rebounding's a problem.
And I just, I think I've said this before, I don't know how you can say that defense and rebounding are a focus and then start Dorian and Powell at the 4 and the 5.
Yeah.
It just, those two things aren't compatible to me. They don't fit. And I get it that, Kristaps is out. This isn't their final starting lineup, so maybe there's that. But it's just, in the meantime, I don't know. It just doesn't seem compatible to me. And then especially tonight, they started out with Tim Hardaway guarding Zach
That
LaVine
was really strange.
instead of Dorian or Josh Richardson or literally anybody else. That I was like, okay, defense is a focus? Like, what?
That I don't understand that decision whatsoever, where the guy you started on Zach LaVine is literally your worst wing defender.
And you saw the results.
And so now you have Tim Hardaway, your worst wing defender, and no center in the game.
Yeah.
And what do you think was going to happen? He was going to have a huge night.
Every
time he went into the lane, there was zero resistance. I didn't understand that decision whatsoever.
Yeah, like every shot was at the rim, and he made every shot.
And he was 6 of 7 or something to start the game.
And that's because Hardaway can't keep him in front of him, and then Powell doesn't offer any resistance. So it was like, you might as well just pave a runway to the lane.
I thought that was a very strange. And then after he was hot, you put Dorian and Josh Richardson on him.
They did eventually switch.
But by that point, and you know what? He didn't shoot very well. He went like 5 of 13.
Yeah.
It was like, why didn't you just start out that way? What in the world were you thinking?
I don't know.
I don't know if he's trying to purposely sabotage Tim Hardaway to prove to Tim Hardaway, hey, you got to start coming off the bench.
Yeah.
That was a strange move. I also didn't like the fourth quarter when the Mavericks were coming. The lineup I really liked in the game was in the fourth quarter. It was Brunson, Richardson, Dorian, James Johnson, and Willie Cauley-Stein. Now, Cauley-Stein struggled again, and look,
he fouled out. Well, Willie Cauley-Stein isn't very good.
But that lineup was really long and had really good defenders. And as you watched it, they were switching every time, and the Bulls couldn't get any opening. And the Mavericks started making a comeback. They made it a close game. I wanted to ride that lineup out, but he decided to bring in Tim Hardaway Jr., who's been killing him, the Mavs, not the Bulls. And he came back in. The Bulls go on a scoring run, and the Mavs can't score anything.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Hardaway Jr. had a really bad
2
game.
of 12
and, part of me is like, I get it. He is your third leading scorer, and you would think, we need to score some buckets now. Let's put Hardaway back in. But he had a really bad game. He was 4 for 15 overall, 2 for 12 on threes. He just didn't have it.
Well, and the thing is that lineup was making the run.
Yeah.
And I thought usually you would kind of ride that lineup up or out until they're no longer making the run, and then you can bring back in, you know, Tim Hardaway Jr. But Tim Hardaway was just not very good.
He was like old Tim YOLO Hardaway Jr.
Well, he was last year early season Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, taking bad shots, bad threes. 12 threes is a lot. When I don't even think Luka takes 12 threes on a bad night. It was a lot of bad shots and just not making smart plays, offensively or defensively.
It was a tough loss. I mean, look, again, you're out Luka and you're out Porzingis. So, you know,
I expect a loss.
Yes, but you saw some of the same concerns, the lack of talent from the rest of the roster that the Mavericks have right now. Their lineup switches right now, they're just not working. The starting lineup, again, we start off the game with 4 points in like the first 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's with Jalen, you know, so there's something not working there with that starting lineup.
Yeah, Brunson, he had 31 points, 11 for 17, which, I mean, that's good. He's been in a really bad slump, so if he can break out of it, then that helps the Mavs. Willie Cauley-Stein, I know that a lot of fans really like Willie Cauley-Stein and want him to start, but I just don't think he's very good. And I think tonight, he played 12 minutes, I guess, but I didn't really see anything out of them where I was like, start him.
I want to think that he's good.
Yeah.
And I want to think that he's better than Dwight Powell. And it's sad, but he might not be.
I don't think he is.
Either way, Maxey is clearly better than both of them.
Yeah.
And again, Maxey, 2 games in a row, is the center that's closing the game. Why don't you just start him? And
I don't know.
If Dwight Powell is so bad you can't bring him off the bench or start him, like, I understand you need to have some kind of punch coming off of your bench, but the starting lineup is so bad right now that I feel like you got to fix that problem first, and then you can start worrying about the bench.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I'll play the devil's advocate. Like, Dwight Powell, maybe Carlisle wants that what he adds offensively, he wants to be able to start the game with that offensive punch.
He's not adding anything offensively.
True. Okay, so there's that. That's good counterpoint. Another option would be when Kristaps comes back, Powell is going to go to the bench, and Powell maybe is most like Kristaps in terms of play style, and so he just wants something in there to help players get
Powell
into that rhythm.
Powell is nothing like. If anybody is like Kristaps, it's Maxey.
That's true. Good counterpoint. Okay, so third option. I had a third point, but I can't remember what it was. I mean,
I just don't look. I understand.
Yeah. Or maybe Carlisle was just thinking like, screw it. Without Kristaps,
start Maxey.
Yeah.
That's your best option.
Maybe. Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
Okay, so maybe he wants Maxey coming off the bench even when Kristaps comes back. So he's like, well, let the bench get their rhythm together.
I understand that as well, but your starting lineup is trash right now. It's not working.
Yeah, true.
It's just not. You got to fix. You're losing games because you can't score the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, but that's Carlisle. He's always willing to try a million different things, even if it means losing.
It's like I said, he spends the first 10 games just collecting data.
Yeah.
And then he'll go into what kind of rotations he actually wants to do. I hate sacrificing games for that data collection. It's just not working with Dwight Powell.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy had 4 points and 4 rebounds on a really small team. The Bulls it's not like the Bulls were going out there with Marc Gasol and Anthony Davis. Wendell Carter Jr., I think he's like 6'3", playing their center.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not actually 6'3", but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I thought I also saw some bad body language from Dwight Powell. Like, he was starting to get frustrated with...
He's struggling.
He's struggling. He's not very good defensively. And when you start, you're playing against, the other team's best players. And so if you struggle defensively, and especially at the center position, it's hard to hide that guy. Like, wings and guards, you can move them around and shuffle them. But a center, he's there. Like, he's in the paint. And he's just not a very good defender. And I feel like tonight I kind of saw a little more frustration out of him.
And an Achilles injury is a serious injury, and it does affect guys that are on Powell's level. Like if you look in the history of people that had Achilles injury, if they weren't very good to begin with, they're done after it.
Yeah.
They just never become the same player. Whereas someone like Kevin Durant, who's got that mindset that, it's just different for those kind of players. And you can see, obviously, Durant is looking like normal. But Dwight, it's just not working. Maxey, I don't know. Look, I don't know what Carlisle's going to do. And I don't know what the Mavericks are going to do, but they just lack talent. And I know Derek Harper will just talk about how he loves the depth on this team. And, he's like, I wonder how many teams are lining up because they want Jalen Brunson. Nobody lining up to get Jalen Brunson from the Mavs.
I do appreciate Brunson putting on a show and upping his trade value when playing against the Bulls, who I want to do a trade with.
Yeah.
Because I want Zach LaVine. I don't care what anyone else says. I like him. I mean, the dude, he's efficient. Like, he's 14 for 25. I'm not good at math, so I don't know what that percentage is, but it's good.
To me, you put... it's over 50%.
Yeah.
It's like maybe 60%. But you put Luka and LaVine at your two guards. Worry about the other wings and defense later.
No, I mean,
now you have two guys that just can put a bucket anytime during the game. Yes.
And like maybe the Mavs don't have the pieces for that, which is why I appreciate Brunson putting on a show, taking one for the team. Also, another thing, the Bulls just made like everything tonight. I mean, freaking Colby White was 7 for 14. And who was the guy that's like 50% on free throws and
Gafford.
He was 5 for 5 or something?
Yeah, 6 for 6.
6
actually,
for
something
6.
like that.
Yeah, I mean, they made everything.
You know what though? It's like that's just an excuse, like
maybe, but I mean, it was the same thing against the Hornets.
Exactly,
they just made everything. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, I know, like, I didn't expect to win without Luka and Porzingis, and I know when they come back, the overall result is different. But I think you can still evaluate the players that played, and we saw a lot of the same trends that we've been seeing. Any final thoughts on the game before we...
The Bulls game?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Share your thoughts in the comments section or on Twitter.